Alright guys, so we actually have a bunch of important stuff to talk about, and this is actually going to be regarding Call of Duty 2019, and we're going to be going through a bunch of things that are confirmed to be changing this year. This year, I think Call of Duty finally realized that they need to, actually get the ball rolling because they're falling behind. There are other games, you have Fortnite, you have Apex Legends that are just doing everything correctly. They're doing it right, and Call of Duty needs to figure out what they need to change. And it looks like right now it's an interesting start. Activision had their investors conference today. I want to go through a bunch of the important points here for Call of Duty 2019. They confirmed a bunch of stuff, a bunch of things is going to be different this year. It's going to be cool to see exactly what they do. And I'm going to be obviously very real with you guys. I haven't played Call of Duty in about like 6 months, so this is coming from a person that used to play Call of Duty every single year, over and over again. Obviously, I'm going to be very, not harsh on them, but I want to see change. I want to really see something that is actually enjoyable to play. So we're going to be going through this information and pretty much seeing, are they going to be bringing us that? A change that actually is enticing for us to want to pick up and play. So let's go through here. I'm going to go through the information that they, revealed. This is just through Charlie Intel. Let's talk about the first one. Obviously, there's other Black Ops 4 stuff. I'm not really worried about that. Let's go through Activision on Call of Duty in general. So they're working to bring more content more often with new development resources. The company plans to better integrate the studios to deliver more consistent releases. So what does that mean? Very clearly, they saw Fortnite. Fortnite adds content to their game so often, and Call of Duty does not. And they said, you know what, we need to do what they're doing. That keeps the game's hype up and alive, that keeps people playing, and they're definitely going to change that. There's no way we're going to see a season pass next year, and the Black Ops pass, of course, was a fail. They're going to have to do something next year, or, I guess this year, later this year for Call of Duty 2019, where it's consistent updates, consistent content updates, and you're seeing here I honestly think a lot of the development studios are pretty much all gonna merge together and really focus on the year's game and really try to push out content for that game. So obviously we're gonna have different companies creating different games, like Infinity Ward creates that game, Treyarch creates that game, but overall, I think to push out content for the season, a lot of them, and this is what it sounds like here, they're gonna start working together to really keep the hype alive for these games. And whether or not those companies want to do it doesn't matter. Activision says so, but I think it also is maybe a smarter decision to focus on that because obviously they're falling behind, and the Fortnite's formula works, or it worked in Apex Legends. If they follow the same formula, it's gonna work too. So they need to do that. Next thing here, Activision officially confirms Infinity Ward is developing Call of Duty 2019, says game is rooted in franchise history, and there's more information and wording beyond that point. If you want to look at the full investors conference, it's probably somewhere, but that's all we need to know. I think that is pretty much Modern Warfare 4, 100% rooted in franchise history. I mean, some people say, well, technically COD Ghosts is in franchise history. I mean, they're not wrong, but it's not going to be Ghost 2. I think that's already a fact. And Modern Warfare 4, I think we're past the point of it being some sort of teaser, and I don't think I've ever made a video on Modern Warfare 4 when it was teased or when it was leaked a couple months ago, but at this point I think it's guaranteed to be Modern Warfare 4, so that's obviously gonna be pretty cool just to see familiar faces and an actual game that is just cool, nostalgic. Obviously that's not all we need, and I'm gonna, obviously when I go through all this information here, I'm gonna make it clear that just because it's, back to boots, just like World War II was the first game, back to boots on the ground, doesn't mean it's going to be good. So that's, just saying that here, but it's definitely a cool thing that it's Modern Warfare 4, and there's going to be similar lore, a similar feel to that game, that same sort of, hopefully they keep it that same modern era Call of Duty. That'd honestly be really nice. I'm in the mood for just a nice modern Call of Duty. I don't know. I feel like that'd be pretty sick. So moving through here, a bunch of the different things they said. Activision said they have high expectations for this year's game, say they are extremely excited for it and what it represents. This is the thing, and it also says here, actually, game is rooted in franchise history, but they state that unit sales may be lower than Black Ops 4. I don't really like that. I don't like that they're saying that. The only thing is here, I do think that, every year they're going to say this, and I wish I can look back and maybe compile all of the tweets from every time a Call of Duty is announced or revealed, and Activision's like, guys, this year, this Call of Duty, this is the year, Like, come on. My Siri just activated. Well, Black Ops 4, obviously, it's going to have higher sales regardless, and I guess they're just realizing that now, and, they're just saying up front, it's already going to have lower sales, which makes sense. The Call of Duty could still be successful and have, slightly lower sales in Black Ops 4, but the fact that they're saying that, I don't know. I feel like it undermines a bit of their hype. Some of the best-selling Call of Duties were, Infinity Ward Call of Duties. Like, MW3 was, I'm pretty sure, one of the best-selling Call of Duties of all time. I think it's really high up there, and that's MW3. So, just because Black Ops 4 is a big name and it sells a lot doesn't mean you have to think like, we're not going to expect like that year or this year. And this year, obviously, clearly for a ton of people, Black Ops 4 really was lackluster. So the fact that it's going to be lower and they're expecting lower sales than Black Ops 4, even though they have high expectations for this year's game, that's the point where I'm like, we're getting a little iffy here. I'm not so sure what the deal is there. Another thing here, Activision Blizzard Chief Financial Officer said that they're investing a lot into Call of Duty's development to bring new content more often. Lots of changes happening at the company this year. We touched upon this already pretty much. Bringing more people together, bringing more development studios together to actually bring and push out more content more regularly, just like Fortnite, just like Apex Legends probably going to do. So that all makes sense. That's whatever. And next one here is what we have seen before already, but it's a huge deal. Activision Blizzard layoffs are going to impact almost 800 employees. That's pretty crazy. They're laying off, 8% of their staff I saw. That's a lot. I don't really know, how that's going to affect the game. They're saying that's not from the development side. That's from just, other just sides of their company. They just want to consolidate more. But that's obviously because their stock is dropping, and they can't really, fund all of these employees to be there, and they're not making enough money. I bet you the CEO's profits are just insane. So, you got to keep the CEO's profits up, and if they're not up, you got to cut some employees. That's just how the business world works. But anyway, let's move on here. This is, again, some stuff. Charlie Intel, I think that's a little cheesy of them to say this, but this is what they said. Wow. Activision Blizzard CFO just now said that the new Call of Duty game the team is building what the teams believe one of the best Call of Duties ever built. Okay, like, come on, really? Charlie Intel, you gotta be like that. I know, look, I know we're all hyped, or I'm not hyped, but like, people that like Call of Duty a lot are hyped for the Call of Duty, and these are good statements to hear when you want Call of Duty to succeed. And I'm seeing this stuff, and I want Call of Duty to succeed. I'm not the biggest Call of Duty player anymore. I still want to play. I wish I had a reason to play, but don't be cheesy like that. Wow, come on. Like, that's just so cringy. Like, come on, you know what I mean? Like, they say that all the time. Guys, this is the best Call of Duty we've ever made. Guys, trust me, we're back to our roots. Like, just stop it. You know what I mean? It's just so cringy. And I'm not saying it's not possible that maybe this year, yeah, we're gonna have the best Call of Duty ever made. Maybe anything's possible, but come on. Anyway, moving on here. Obviously, Call of Duty keeps on saying, and Activision, they keep on telling their investors, guys, we're changing this year. We're changing our model, clearly going to the form of Fortnite, trying to make it like this, sort of new, consistent content update cycle that, made Fortnite so successful. But obviously, a huge part of Fortnite's success is not just the fact that you get constant updates and new stuff over and over and over again, but it's about the fact that Fortnite was free to play. And it's the same thing with Apex Legends. It doesn't matter even what the game is. The fact, and this happened to me as well, the fact that it's free to play, it's such an enticing thing. Think about the human mind. If you see something is free, you're just gonna get it. It's free. You're just like, you know what? Why not? I'm not buying it. It's free. There's literally no harm in trying it out, and that's such a huge deal. Imagine if Apex Legends was $60. I'm not saying it would, it would be a bad game or it wouldn't actually succeed. That's not the case, but it would be less likely that it had such an explosion at the beginning of just new players and just new hype. Obviously, Activision, it's very difficult for them to get to that point. They have huge studios, and it's definitely hard or difficult for them to, bring Call of Duty to that model. So pretty much during the investor call, they were asked, Activision Chief Operating Officer just gave a non-answer to will they have free to play games, and that's just, okay. That's obviously not really a question directly saying will Call of Duty be free to play. They're really just asking, oh, will you guys have free to play games? Just Activision in general, which I'm not really worried about Activision having free to play games. I'm worried about Call of Duty. If Call of Duty wants to compete with these other games, it doesn't have to be free to play, but that'd be a huge plus. If Call of Duty goes free to play, then so many players will just be willing just to try it and just go for it, and if it's pretty much decent, they're gonna stick with it. If it's $60, people are gonna say, you know what, Call of Duty sucks now, I'm not gonna buy it, and they're never gonna get their base back. They're never gonna be able to compete. Obviously, from the tweet you guys saw, they didn't really answer. They didn't really say. They said they're at a unique place in the industry to deliver on changing models. I think they're just in a space where it's gonna be too much of a switch up to make their game free to play. I think that's what they need to do, though. I think everyone realizes that's what they need to do. Everyone realizes or knows that Blackout should have been free to play to begin with. It could have actually been a mode that really competed with Fortnite or any other game, but obviously it's not. And it was a part of Black Ops 4, and they messed up. Whatever. And if Black Ops free to play at the end of the year, who cares? I think it's too late at that point. But obviously, hopefully something crazy happens, and if they're really committed to change, they'll actually make Call of Duty 19 free to play by the end of the year. The tweet up on screen, Call of Duty 2019 will have a campaign, a larger multiplayer mode, and a new co-op experience. That is a huge deal. That could mean a bunch of different things, and I don't know, if this video does well, maybe I'll make a separate video really going in depth as to what this could mean for the game. Obviously a campaign, that's pretty cool. It just needs to be good. I think people that were mad at Black Ops 4 not having a campaign are just, I think they're just, in the outrage culture. They're just like, wanting a reason just to complain, because the Black Ops 4 campaign probably would have been the worst campaign ever. There's no story. The Black Ops 3 campaign, I don't even know what was going on. I didn't play that campaign. I don't think it was that good. I played one mission, not interesting. Black Ops 4 probably would have been worse. The leaks that they were saying they were creating the campaign, and it sounded stupid. I think that would have been the worst campaign ever. This campaign here, it could be good. I don't know. Maybe if it is, a real sequel to, or I guess sequel, right, to Modern Warfare 3, Modern Warfare 4, familiar characters, Ghost returning, and all this weird stuff, whatever's going on, an actual continuation of that storyline, that would be really cool. And if it's done well, that would be really sick. But just because there's a campaign doesn't mean Call of Duty's back, doesn't mean, oh, they're finally doing it right. It's just a campaign. If it's good, it's good. That would be really sick. But if not, whatever. Large multiplayer mode, I don't really know what that means. I guess different, probably really expanding multiplayer, different aspects of it. A new co-op experience, that's a bit interesting. That means definitely not zombies, which is really interesting. There's no way that's a new co-op experience. They're not going to say new co-op experience and then bring us zombies. I guess not extinction. I guess not a battle royale. Like, it's a new co-op experience. If they're using their English correctly, that would mean something we have never seen before. Co-op experience never seen before. So we'll have to see what that is. Maybe we'll get some theories and we'll talk about what that could be. But as of now, I think that's gonna be it. If you guys want to see me do another video on this, definitely let me know, and leave a comment below, MW4, if you watched the whole video. I have not made a Call of Duty video in a very long time, so if you watched this whole video, my first Call of Duty video in a while, that's actually pretty sick, and you're probably either just a new viewer or you're a longtime fan, so that's pretty cool. So leave a comment below, MW4, so I can see the accounts that watched the full video. Thank you guys, And yeah, see you guys later.